Welcome back to the Bleav in Badger Football podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network, presented by betonline.ag. Once again, I'm your host, Matt Perkins, joined as always by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Matty, how we feeling today?
Man, it's a good day. It's a good day. We don't have a running back on, but I think we have one of the best, if not one of the best, I would say, linebackers to ever do it. All-American death row. Can't wait to hear how that came out, but death row's leader, Leo Chenal. Hey, man, it's a pleasure to have you on with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
Did I miss out anything? Any other awards? I'm sure there are more.
Big Ten Linebacker of the Year.
Oh, yeah, my bad. The biggest one.
On,
I'm sorry, sir. The Big Ten Linebacker of the Year. I know I'm a huge fan. I know Matt Perkins is a huge fan. You're probably like the most consistent top five. We do like a top five. You were definitely the most consistent. I mean, what'd you average? Like 25 tackles a game? You were all over the place. I don't think you're actually blockable if you're a lineman, a fullback, or anybody else. So thank you for being here. It's a real pleasure to be interviewing you. I'm pumped for your future. Let's just hope it's not with my team, the Jets. You don't want to go there.
Come on, man. Maybe I can help out. Who knows?
Dude, you would be amazing. I think you would be a great pickup. I just don't want you to go there. I'd rather you go to a team that wins. You remember Joe Thomas?
Yeah.
He went to the Browns. He never played in a playoff game. Like, I don't want that for you. I'm a huge Jets fan. Like, you would be my favorite player. If you wore number 5, then I'd have to get a new jersey because Brooks Bollinger wore number 5 for the Jets.
Okay.
So, listen, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to buy your jersey. I just don't want you to be a Jet.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you.
I want you on the Bills. So, and then you will be going into deep in the playoffs with that beast, Josh Allen. Man, we're going to start way back, though. We're going to start, growing up in Grantsburg, Wisconsin, because you and your brother kind of legendary, and your family is legendary in that town. I think you guys take up like half the population. So what was it like growing up? And what do you have, 16? You're one of 16 kids, right?
Yeah. I mean, what are you saying?
Go ahead. Like, talk about growing up in such a big family. Like, what was that like? Did that sort of like bring the competition out of you?
Yeah. I mean, there was never like boredom. We had a big like outdoors. My dad had a nice plot of land there. But we were never bored. We'd always have each other. Us boys would always be fighting with each other, competing at everything, and, punching at each other. So, I mean, we were never bored, always had something to do.
And so when does a little Leo, if there ever was a little Leo, when do you like get into football? Were you the first one? Were there others? I mean, 16 kids it sounds like going to camp. Like, it sounds like going to like an actual, like a kid's camp, a sleepover. It sounds amazing. So yeah. You guys all compete in sports together? Was it all over the place?
Yeah, I mean, my oldest brothers played a little bit. One of them, my older brother Ben, went to Eau Claire and started as a freshman. It wasn't for him, but my biggest inspiration was from my older brother Peter and Adam, but mostly Peter. He was, I Bleav, was it 4 years older than me? Yeah, I missed on him. I missed on about a year. I could have played with him, but it was like a year. He was a year older. But, he was always the hardest worker. He'd do like these killer football practices, come home and do his own workouts on his own, that just grind him to the ground. But he was definitely an inspiration. And, I was able to play with my older brother, John, obviously. And then younger brother, you're younger than me, Gabe as well. So I was really lucky.
How amazing is it to play? I played high school football with my brothers, and it was special, but it's high school. You were able to play college at a high level, a top 10 ranked team with your brother, both starters. How special is that?
I mean, words can't really say enough. Like at one point we were like right by each other on the kickoff team. We were on the punt team right next to each other. It was just awesome being able to, your best friend in the world, being able to play right next to him. It was special.
Are you guys roommates?
Like right now?
Or like, were you?
We were like my first summer here. I enrolled early and we were roommates then, but otherwise, no, we weren't. I had to I couldn't deal with him for that long.
It's funny because my brother also came to Wisconsin after he didn't want to. He probably couldn't have played, but I tried to ask him to live together and he's like, no, I don't want to live together. So I get it. I get the brother thing. It's pretty funny though.
Yeah, I feel that.
Bernie, I never knew that your brother went to UW. But Leo, so let's talk about high school football. Obviously, like you guys, pretty small town, but you guys were very successful as a program. Obviously, you and your brothers were a big part of that success. Were you always playing linebacker? Did you play offense as well in high school? And when did you sort of really settle in as a middle backer?
Yeah, I mean, I played both ways. When I was playing with my brother, all the way up till my senior year of high school, I was blocking for him. So, my senior year, I finally got to take that lead role. But I'm not sure. I mean, personally, I thought I was a better running back than a linebacker. But I got recruited as a linebacker, and then it's probably because I was too slow or something. But
but it has played off.
It's paid off for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But,
I think we had John Clay on the show. I think about 2 months ago, and he said that I think you broke his Camp Randall High School record for rushing yards in the stadium.
I didn't even go to state. Maybe I think it's somebody else here. Oh,
maybe it was someone else, and I thought it was you, but I don't know. Maybe I was mistaken about that. I thought it was you, but maybe not. So anyway, in high school, like what was your because when you came into UW, you were one of the strongest freshmen we'd ever seen until Braylon got here. But you were just an absolute beast. What was your regimen like in high school? And how did you become so strong so early on in life?
Like in high school, middle school, actually, like I had my brother Peter, like I said, and he was all about like, okay, we got to eat healthy. Like, the nutrition, like looking back on it, was probably the biggest thing for me. Like I went 4 or 5 years in a row, like never drinking pop once, never eating ice cream once, never eat anything like sugar, like besides like fruit. So the nutrition ultimately was one of the biggest things. And then being able to like play off his work ethic. We were in the weight room, 5 days a week. We also need that recovery, being smart about it, get those 2 days off. But just when we're in the weight room, just grinding away, and we have each other like, oh, is that all you got? Is that all you got? We're pushing each other, and every set, every rep, we're pushing each other.
Dude, first off, that's so cool, and I completely agree with you. First off, I'm just also pumped that you guys had like a good nutrition plan, and your brother was like part of that, because we had Brian Bott on the show, and we talked about how important that was, but how also I don't think we were doing that in 2000 to 2005 when I was there. It was more of like work your butt off and then go to the bars. And I now looking back, I'm like, that's probably not what we should have been doing. But you know what? I can't fault it because I had the best time of my life. But definitely nutrition's huge. So you're super strong. Who was recruiting you when you were either junior or senior?
John and I like got into like, started doing camps and started reaching out to people pretty late in our career. That's in my opinion why John only got a preferred walk-on spot, because he was a junior by the time he got any interest at all. It was, I believe South Dakota State was my first offer. And basically that was it until like the Badgers offered me. Iowa was talking to me. They said they were going to offer, but once the Badgers offered, I'm like, all right, it's my home state. I want to play for this place. Like, I committed a day later.
Was it important for you to play with your brother? Like, did you guys have conversations around that?
Yeah, 100%. Like, he was committed to UND, I believe it was. We were just like, that's all we wanted to do, man. Like, we've done everything together, and ultimately that's where it took us.
Once again, I'm jealous that you guys played together.
Yeah.
I think that's so special. So when you get to campus, so you picked Wisconsin. Who was recruiting you at the time?
Let's see. It was Coach Herring. I believe it was just Coach Herring, Coach Bostad, Coach Christ. Yeah, it was mostly Coach Herring, I'd say.
Because he's the in-state, in-state lead recruiter. So I know he reaches out to most of the Wisconsin guys. What was your relationship like with him? Like, did you guys have like, sort of like really like, kick it off with a good start? Did you guys always have a good relationship? Did that take a long time to build?
I would just say it's an average relationship. He's a really nice guy. It just didn't take much to, get me on board. Like, I'm like, whatever, man, like I'm coming.
So you show up to campus. What's it like when you finally got to Madison?
What's it like? I mean, oh man, there's like the city wise. I mean, geez, it's like 50 times bigger, and like, you know, I was just lucky I had my brother like show me the ropes around and, you know, tell me what to avoid, what to do. Like when I first got there, I'm like, I heard all these stories about like these fights and practices, and I'm like, and like if a defensive player like screws around with the offensive lineman, they're all gonna like gang up on you and stuff. So I was like trying to learn the ropes. Like, all right, what do I not do to like piss some people off? But you know, that's kind of where it started.
We always had, you probably won't remember this. We had a center named Donovan Raiola that even if a defensive guy by accidentally bumped him, he would get into a fight. So I understand. The problem is the coaches hate that because it's such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like we used to stop the clock and I hated that. Because why extend practice any long, and people would get pissed and then you'd have to run. Such a nightmare. But that's pretty funny. But then so you're a freshman at UW. Are you, would you say that you picked up the scheme well? When did Jimmy show up during your time?
Like what I mean, physically or just like as a mentor, you mean?
But he was he wasn't there 4 years ago, was he?
Yeah, he was.
But he was a
junior, so he was there. He was there since what, 2016, right?
Yep.
But as a DB's coach.
He was DB's coach, but only for 1 year before Wilcox took the Cal job and he ascended to defensive coordinator. So he would have been the D coordinator, right when you came in. So yeah, like talk about like picking up the scheme. Was it harder mentally or physically for you at first?
Definitely like both. Like, oh man, like they sent me like the playbook before I came, and I literally was like flipping through it. And I'm like, you're joking, right? I kept flipping through the pages. I'm like, no way. Because like in high school, you just like if it's passed, you take a 45-degree angle drop and sit there and read the QB's eyes. That's literally all I did. You know, it's just a small school, the reality of it. But you know, seeing all that, it's like I'm just glad I came mid-year because I had to get all those mistakes, all those mental errors out of me. And you know, he'd write them down on a piece of paper, like every play, you'd be ME, mental error, ME, every time I'm in. You know, it kind of like gets on your nerves, but like ultimately it helped me a lot. And then like physically, it's like I've never been so exposed, like coordination wise. Like when I was a senior in high school, I'm like, you know, you think you're good, like, you know, you get Gatorade Player of the Year, whatever. But then you come into college with these high-level athletes, and I just look like a fool, clicking my heels every time I shuffle, not knowing what I'm doing. But it definitely like showed me how much I could get better.
Did you know a lot of the guys that you were recruited with? I mean, I think you, Keanu, and Julius were all the three in-state guys who got scholarships that season. There were a couple other linebackers that came. I think Spencer Lytle was in your class as well. How many of those guys did you like know or have a relationship with before you enrolled?
I mean, I'm more like a quiet, introverted guy, really. So I didn't really reach out to anybody. So, I mean, I didn't really have a relationship. We had a group chat, but I wasn't really like, you know, like the guy leading conversations or anything.
Who was in that group? I'm really curious. Who was like the big
rah-rah? Yeah, I mean, we had like, you know, Julius, Graham, Spencer, Hayden, Joe, Keanu. There was a lot of guys that would, you know.
So when you show up, who's in the room that's excites you to be there?
Like when I first showed up?
Yeah, in the linebacker room. Like who? Because I remember showing up and I was like, oh my God, I am so excited. Like these guys, you know, my Coach Ron Dane, Chad Coons is like one of the best fullbacks around. It was just exciting. You know, Anthony Davis was from Jersey, so that got me excited. Like when you walk in, you're like, are you starstruck at all because you're a fan, or are you just like, I'm ready to be here?
I mean, it was when you walk in and see JT, it's kind of a whole nother deal, like outside of the linebacker room. But it kind of is like, all right, I'm here. But, you know, having someone like Chris Orr, man, like just hearing about him, he was, you know, a legend, and just being able to learn from him because he's just a master at the game. And it was really cool.
Yeah, people talk about Chris just being one of like the smartest, like most instinctive, like football players like to ever come through the program.
Yeah.
So,
What were you saying about that?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Chris was one of my like favorite people to just talk to, like such a kind human being. And then you just want to cheer for him in a game. And then when he, was doing well, same with Sitchy. Like whenever I saw these guys, they were so nice, so kind, like it appreciated the history. I'm washed up. They appreciated like just having a conversation. And I appreciate it more than anything to have a conversation with you guys, the young guys, because at some point we're going to be playing golf outings together and it's just going to be like fun and we'll BS and it'll be a good time. But he's a good dude too. Like Chad Coons is that guy. Like he was an introvert, hardly talked to me, but he just, the way he played, the way he went about business, and then his just kind of mentoring, like not talking a lot, but when he said something, like you listened to it. I feel like that is, I have like that same experience. I got to ask you, when did Death Row start?
It started before my time, and it's funny because Chris actually started it. Like he's the one that originally founded it. But I was probably the first one to write it on Sharpie in my arm for a game. But it definitely started with Chris because he embodied it better than anybody for sure.
Then you have to like back it up when you write it down. So how tough is, you legitimately tell me, do you think there was any time that you didn't back it up? Because I could say that it from watching, it looked like you backed it up in every single game.
Yeah. I mean, like personally, like for me, I'm looking at like, I could have done better every game. So I can't really judge,
So I saw you play I went to 3 games this year. The only one that really was special was the Army game. Dude, how are those plays called when you're in A-gap blitzing and tackling everyone? Is that like a Jimmy Leonard, like you're going to do this? Or is that like Leo saying, I watch so much film, I can just do this and I'm that good?
No, I wish it was like the second one, but no, we had it, schemed up like that. Just the way their splits were so wide and they had a consistent tempo every single time. It was the same cadence. And that's why I got caught on that offsides at one time. They were like, "Oh, we got you." I'm like, "You guys you've never changed up your offense in your whole history. Why are you doing that to me?" But yeah, it was planned.
But what's it like? I don't remember doing a lot of that stuff. What's it like for you to be like constantly going against linemen downhill, blitzing a ton? We'll talk about that. And then I definitely, Jimmy's one of my favorite people. I have so many funny things to tell you about him, but and then so I want to ask you that question. Then I want to talk about Jimmy, and then I know Matty P. Like I go off on tangents. I want to talk about the season and what you see moving forward. There's a lot to go on, but what's it like playing in A-gap like a ton?
I like it. It's just all the drills we do in the off season. It's like we spend so many hours just hitting that like the punching bag, like boom, 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 over and over and over again. And it's just like it just feels so natural, and I feel like I can hold my own for the most part, and it just played to my strengths a lot.
So, what has Jimmy Leonard meant to you and your progression as a linebacker? And what is like? How does he go about his business? Because when I knew Jimmy, he just played the way he played. Like he wasn't a rah-rah guy, but
yeah.
he was nuts in his own mind. Like they never said anything, never did anything crazy. But I don't know if you know this, if you ever watch film, he never fair caught a punt.
I didn't know that.
We put our best guys in punt return, and we had like Jimmy was like, I'm just going to catch and run every single time. And he basically did that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's funny.
It's crazy. So what's Jimmy Leonard do for your game?
A lot of it, he's more like hands-on with the DBs and safeties. Like a lot of what he says is being passed down through Bosted. I'd meet with him off, whatever on my own sometimes, but a lot of what he does is through Bosted. But, when I am talking to him, he's so smart in explaining like the details on the why we do things, playing to each individual strength, like, putting me up in the A-gap like that. Activating certain people, changing up the calls, tweaking them just a little bit for every opponent. So I got the privilege to, be a part of that.
So you mentioned Bostad, and now he's moving back to O-line. But what's I hear he's a fantastic coach. And he's like, get in your face. You know, when I was getting coached, it was guys could say whatever they wanted to. It was kind of nuts. Is he still like an old school coach?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe some would argue maybe he softened up a little bit, but you know, if anybody were to come in, he'd be like, he means business for sure. When you get on that field, like there's no fooling around. I mean, obviously anyways, but you know, you got to be on your game. Like if we went over it once, you better get it right type deal. And you know, he held us to a standard, and he was one of the main reasons we were the number one rush defense, you know, number one linebacker duo in the country. It's because of him, you know, what he instilled in us.
Well, talking about that duo,
I like to hear that Jimmy. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, like talking about that duo, you and Jack seem to have like a mind meld on the field. Like you guys seem to be able to know exactly what the other person is gonna do without even like saying anything. Like, does that come from just like playing together for so long, or what do you think makes that you and Jack such a good tandem?
You know, it's just every single day, every single practice, every single rep, we're talking through like, you know, if we accidentally step on one of our, you know, our feet one time, like, hey, what are you doing there? Like, why are you doing this? Like, we're talking like every time we get a rest break in between periods and stuff, we're like, hey, what'd you see there? Like, what are you going to do on this? And, you know, sometimes one of us like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go do this. So you got to be there for me on that. So it's like we work together and we get so used to each other.
That's amazing, because my wife's cousin was Jack and Brian's high school linebackers coach. And he said like both of those guys are just two of like not just like the best players that he's ever coached, but the best people he's ever coached. And just like that they are like two like really stand-up dudes. And so like, do you and Jack like, you know, did you guys spend time together like outside of practice too, or a lot, or like who are some of the other guys that you would like hang out with sort of like when you're not like on the field or in practice?
You know, I would spend a little bit of time mostly in linebacker like events, but like I was saying, like I'm just like a really introverted guy. Like I really keep to myself. Like I would just like go home, chill out in my apartment, and you know, watch some film. But otherwise, like, you know, play some Call of Duty with John, you know, and that'd be about it. I don't like going out. I'm not really a social guy.
It was all linebackers and all football when you got to the stadium.
What'd you say?
It was like all football, all linebackers when you got to the stadium. No offensive guys you hung out with? Is that your brother?
Yeah. No, not really. No, I wasn't. I'm just not about that social life at all, man.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, some people are like, I was definitely probably too about it, which I don't know, like if it did anything for me or not, but you're going to be in a way better football shape. I mean, and you are, believe me, I've seen you, your arms, you could have put like a lowercase D on my arm, but you got a big uppercase bold D.
Maddie, don't sell yourself short, Bernie, man. You were pretty yoked.
I mean, that's me right there. There I am. That's by the way, I stole this from the stadium.
Okay. Did you?
Yeah. They were the new stadium, not the new stadium, but the stadium was getting upgraded, and our cafeteria moved from like the McLean. You know where you walk in, all the trophies are?
Yeah.
That was where we used to eat, like right there. So they put up some of these posters, and then when you graduate, I guess they just took them down, but we moved out of there. So there was nothing in there. And my boy's like, go steal that, dude. That's going to be trashed tomorrow. Yeah. And I was like, no, I can't steal that from the stadium. And he's like, what? They're going to throw it away. And I was like, all right, you know, got it off the wall. I left Darren Charles up there, who was a wide receiver, but I took mine.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah. You know, you gotta do these things. It would have been trashed. I mean, that room is completely gone now. Yeah. It's with all your trophies. So what was practice like going against your brother? I mean, did you guys bang heads a bunch?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got there freshman year, we do like these. People have different names for them, but we call it the Badger drill. You probably had it. You just like, you know, we go at each other at full speed and like we try to knock each other back every single time. Or there was any other competition, they'd be like, all right, Chenal brothers. Like, oh my goodness, the 5th time this week. All right. And then, you know, and then we meet each other in the hole. And, you know, out of everybody I've ever played against, like, you know, every fullback, my brother John, he was the best blocker I've ever won against for sure. And I'm not being biased. I'm actually being serious. Like, I'd come out at full speed and he'd just stop me dead in my tracks. And so, I mean, it definitely helped me get better playing him.
Are there any other guys on the offense who you were like, wow, man, this guy, when he locks me up, I'm stuck?
Let's see. I mean, I think Cam Large was probably the best blocker in my opinion. We'd always go against him in individual drills. Both said it would make him just like come down on us like as hard as he could, and he'd probably have the best clamps out of anyone.
Nice. See,
awesome.
Your brother's one. I'll tell you, your brother in the bowl game, not just the touchdowns, the catching, his blocking to me was the best I've seen him all year. Is there anything? And he was late to the game too because he was sick, I think.
Yeah.
We just got out of protocol. What can you say about? I know we talk a lot about the fullbacks, but what can you say about your brother's progression? Because to me, I think his stock is the highest it's ever been. And I told Matt Perkins, I was like, did you see how well he's blocking this game? And I don't think people even watch the fullback, to be honest. Right. So, I mean, what's his progression been like?
I mean, it's just like feeling out what he's capable of. You know, we always knew like what he could do. You know, he was dealing with minor stuff all season, that kind of like nagging injuries. But being able to have a game plan like they did, like, you know, they kind of like involved him a lot in the game plan. And I was really happy to see that for him because kind of show what he was capable of. You know, you just sneak him out of the flat, he'll catch it. You know, he was probably pumped up about the game plan, maybe made him play a little harder, who knows. You know, he's going to play hard no matter what. But, you know, he was just doing what he does. That's all I think.
So go ahead,
sorry,
Bernie.
Maddie,
go ahead, Bernie. No.
So, I was going to bring it back. Coming into this season, what's it like in the offseason saying we have Penn State #1 team to go against? Like how we always had limping games, you know, the Eastern Michigans, the Northern Iowas, and the likes, UNLV, even though we didn't beat them always. What's it like coming in all offseason saying we have opening game Big Ten?
I mean, we're all just so excited. Like we had all that time to prepare for that one game, and we were just we were just excited about it. I mean, there's not as you know, I don't know. It was. I mean, I'm sad I missed it, but I was excited for it. I mean, I played up until like the Thursday practice, and I got the call that I tested positive, but I was excited. I was there in spirit.
Right. But then, okay, so in camp, all you heard, everyone would text me and say, our defense is way ahead of our offense. I kind of felt that would be the case because I think we have still a young quarterback in my eyes. How good does it feel like to beat up on the offense pretty much day in and day out?
In practice, I mean, they like surprise. I mean, I don't know if surprisingly is a good word, but they would actually do some damage on us, like because like you get a feel for the offense, you know, you get a feel for the defense. Like you're playing against each other a lot of times. They know exactly where to go on us. So I mean, they would stop us like a few days out of the week. But you know, we just took pride in being able to stop the run and then go from there. So.
Yeah, and what happened in either the offseason or the beginning of the season that you guys just buckle down and say, like, we're going to hardly let up any yards. We're not going to let you guys run the ball. Like, we're going to be the best defense in the nation. Like, that doesn't just happen overnight. So were you the leader? Who was the leader? Was it Jimmy? Was it Bosa? Like, where does that come from? Because game in and game out, you guys were the most consistent. And consistent is not a good word because you played consistently at the best level, which is amazing. So where did that all come from?
I mean, in my opinion, first of all, is the players. You know, we're willing to put in that work. But, you know, for me, looking back on it, it really was like Bostad was a huge part of it. Like he not only like was teaching us well, but he was teaching us how to like be as people. Like we can't accept any little failure. They get a 3-yard run. Okay, that's way too much. Like we got to be like 0 yards or less. Like we just had that high standard, and you know, he made sure that we were spreading the, you know, that on the team, spreading that standard. You know, we got to make sure all of us are on the same page, and I really credit to him.
So I want to the mantle now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Please go for it, Maddie. Go for it. Yeah. Who takes the mantle now?
Who takes the mantle now?
because you and Jack are, you and Jack are moving on, and like, what are your thoughts on, who's going to, the guys who are going to be them? We know we've got Jordan Turner and a bunch of other guys. Those inside linebackers, who do you think is going to really be able to step up, and what do you think some of the strengths of those guys are going forward?
I mean, you guys see it just as much as I do. I really think, Jordan, has showed the most in coverage. In my opinion, Tate might be like, excel more in run defense. And then Muma is, probably the best pass rusher out of any of us, in my opinion. Just what he's shown consistently in practice. He was beating guys 95% of the time, beating the offensive linemen. He's got some nice moves, but they each have their good traits, and I'm really excited to see how like spring ball turns out for them. It'll be huge.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys have to the defense has to replace a lot of guys. I mean, between you and Jack, Henningsen, and the entire secondary, pretty much, it's going to be, a lot of, I think there's a lot of excitement, just around, at least, for guys like me and Matt who are watching from afar, saying like, okay, like, it sucks that, a lot of you guys are graduating, going to the pros, but that's also awesome for the program to see what guys are going to be able to sort of step in, take the next step. Speaking of taking the next step, you have declared for the draft early. Congratulations. We know you're going to go super high. So what are you doing to prepare for the draft? What do you think you need to work on the most? And is there anything like you're really focusing on in the process between now, the combine, pro day, and then draft day?
I mean, like I was saying before, it's like you guys can see just as much as me. Like I didn't show enough in coverage this season. I think the combine will also be huge for me in terms of like, I'm a kind of an oversized backer in some people's opinion. So I mean, in the 40 time and, all those drills are going to be super important for me. And then also working with those position coaches on that coverage, on that change direction and instinct. Cause we communicate with them what we need to work on. And, it's really helpful just attacking everything from every single angle. Nutrition is the best I've ever been. They hire, really nice chef, Larry Fitzgerald's old chef, which, it's pretty cool. He's really getting us right. So, I mean, we're just attacking it from every angle.
Cause you're training down in Arizona, right?
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
I was gonna say, who did you sign with?
It was CAA. Oh, right here.
Oh, nice. So you're in Arizona. I remember I went to California. All we did was football. There was nothing else. Is that's all and that's what it should be. You're just focusing on all those things. I mean, do you watch film? Like, are you on the track all day? Like what's like a day-to-day workout pre-combine look like?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, I think people think it's like a lot harder than it is in terms of physical stress, but a lot of it is focused on you need recovery. Like we're going to do like super like intense, but short, like spurts of workouts. Like I'll go in at, whatever it is, 8 a.m. and we'll do like an hour workout, and then we'll get our recovery, get our nutrition down. We'll do everything in between, recover, and then we'll come back and do our lift. And then that'll only last 45 minutes to an hour. And then we have all that other time to recover, eat, do whatever we need to do, relax. So it really is focused on like, okay, when we're at it, we're going to go really hard. When we're not, we better be recovering and doing whatever you can. And, it is really important to continue to watch film to understand the defense, because they will ask you about those, ask you about the defense and a lot of the scheme when, so we have to be prepared.
Are you doing like interview prep then too, I assume? Because I know that can be a big part of the draft process.
I have not started it. I'm supposed to start this week. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
My only advice is just tell the truth. I feel like, you'll be fine. They ask you the most ridiculous questions. And then, from everything you hear is, well, they have old FBI agents, like go to your hometown and like ask your coaches and other people. All that stuff to me sounds so crazy, but I feel like they do that. So I was just told them everything, the truth. And I was like, you guys can at least go find it, or you're just going to do it. So that would be my only advice besides like dominating pro day. But so I have a question for you. And I think the mentality has changed in 01 to 05. I don't remember anyone saying, I'm going to leave early. I think it was, you stayed with your guys you came in with. And my mentality after that was, I can't believe guys are leaving. To me, that's crazy. Now my whole mentality has changed. I think if you are the best player, you should, not even the best player, if you're going to get drafted, you should leave immediately, because you only have a window to play football and you have your whole life to get an education. Sorry, Chancellor blanks out. So sorry, Chancellor. Sorry, new Chancellor. But that's what I truly think. Have you seen? I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't think it was, people didn't seem like it was okay to do it 20 years ago. Has that mentality changed? I hope so. And what was your thought process saying, I'm going to go do this?
You always do want to, stay with your team. That's obviously one of the pros is like of staying. It's like, you got to, stay with the guys you came in with. My mentality was just like, all right, I got to weigh the pros and cons of this. That's all you can do in the end. It's like, and then ultimately choose what's best for you. And a lot of it was talking to my fiance and talking to my family and, realizing like, okay, like I showed it on film, like what I can do. And I'm probably going to get drafted, hopefully. I'm not trying to be overconfident, but, and then you just got to weigh the pros and cons. And, but at the end of the day, it was for me just like a gut feeling, like maybe it is time to move on. It wasn't necessarily like words on a piece of paper. It's like, I just felt like it was time for me.
Yeah, because Groshek said the same thing. He's like, it was his time. I could have come back for his, what was his 18th season? But he's like, listen, it's time. I think he had the same conversations. Is your brother down there with you training?
No, he's in Minnesota.
Oh, God. Okay.
Sorry for him.
That's what I hear. No, I applaud you, because I think that's a really hard decision when you feel such a loyalty to Wisconsin, the Badgers, and I still do. And I don't think, listen, no one's going to say, oh, you left early, so you are not part of the team. You are 100% like a Badger alumni, and any one of us would do anything for you, after your career is over. I'm just proud that has changed. And even my mentality has changed, because you got to get paid. And that, to be honest, in this world, like, it sounds so stupid, but dude, you can only be a death row member for, 20 years, right? And after 20 years, the only one who's still doing it is Tom Brady. I hate his guts, but he's still doing it. And you got to get paid in that window. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you don't get paid in that window, like me, I got hurt my senior year, and then I didn't get drafted, and then I didn't make any money. Now looking back, I'm like, oh, I should have made more money, right? Like, I have a job and I kind of need more money now.
Right.
That's my rant. Dude, don't take it. Just do you. You'll be fine. Are there any, did you grow up a Packers fan?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like extreme. Like anytime they'd play, I'd be like, oh, cool, the Packers are on. But I wasn't that big of a fan. But I mean, if they're winning, like I'm supporting them,
I'm sorry for your loss. My wife is very sad today. My wife's from Verona, and she is devastated by the loss.
Yeah, I mean, I've grown more. Like my support has grown throughout the years, and like right now, I'm like, all right, we gotta go to the Super Bowl again, man. It's been too long, and all this talk from Aaron Rodgers, man. I'm like, I'm rooting for him so bad. And, like, I was so upset last night, man. Like,
it's been so long.
I know.
Oh, you're talking to a Bills fan and a Jets fan, like. Bernie's team hasn't been to the Super Bowl since like 68 or 69. My team hasn't been there since 94. Like, so long. When was the last time the Packers were in the Super Bowl? Like 2012 or something like that?
Yeah, but then again, we have like all these winning seasons, like so many winning seasons, and all these number one seeds just to do this every time. It's,
you're right, but you could have the complete it's the SI blank T end of the stick, where you win 4 games a year and still get screwed in your draft picks because there's still 1 or 2 teams worse than you, which is mind-boggling that it continues to happen. So that's why I say don't go to the Jets. But I do think the Jets are turning it around. They got a defensive guy as the head coach. So I think there's some. Are there any places like, I don't want you to say something like you, but like growing up, like I was like, oh, I'd love to be a Jets. I'd love to play for the Jets. There were a few other teams that I was like, oh man, this would be great to play for. Anything like that, or you're just happy like anywhere you go?
I'm kind of just happy. Like being for the Packers would be cool too, just being a home state. But either way, I'm happy. Like I want and I was a huge fan of like Seattle's Legion of Boom. Like that was always pretty cool. Like just those legendary defenses were always intriguing to me. But I'll be happy.
You bring that up. Who was your favorite, or did you model your game off of an NFL guy, at historical or not?
Every time I'd watch, like I'd always like search YouTube highlights just to get me pumped up before games. It'd always be Ray Lewis. Every time, like he just had that like mentality, like all in, like he's just a dog. Like he's gonna go hit somebody and like lacing people out. So I was definitely always watching him.
Well, that reminds me. So I always ask guys, what's your pregame routine? What's your pregame ritual? Are you a guy who's listening to music, get pumped up? You said you watch YouTube videos. Like, what is your, when do you write death row on your arm? Like, what does your pregame routine look like?
I mean, for home game, I'm always hitting the hot tub, obviously, get my legs warm. And it's always just doing stuff with John. Like we'll hit the hot tub together. We'll go stretch together. Then we'll go to the weight room together. Right after that, we'll do like a breathing technique, the Wim Hof. And then right after that, we'll go on a field and play some catch. It was like the same thing every time. And then after we come back from our like warm up with our like team and stuff, then I'd have somebody write the death row on my arm. So it was kind of consistent.
And then away games, what was away games like? Kind of the same, just without the hot tub? Yeah,
basically.
I'm just so jealous. Like throwing your football with your brother in like these different stadiums and in Camp Randall is just, to me, mind blowing. Like I hope you guys just relished in the moments that you guys had. I just think that's so fascinating. Where's the worst place to play away? Worst locker room?
Worst locker room. Oh man. I don't know about worst locker room, but I didn't like Northwestern's field at all. Like it was trash, but
it's also like a house of horrors for the Badgers. For some reason, like, I mean, the game in the 2020 game was brutal in there. Like, I don't know what it is about Northwestern. They just, it's such a frustrating team to play. And you're right. I've been to that stadium. It's far and away the worst in the Big Ten. And that's saying something because Purdue and Rutgers are in the Big
Ten. Oh yeah.
Wait, is Iowa's locker room still pink, and is it still like a dump?
Let's see. I'm not really sure. Like, I don't think so. I remember it being pretty nice, and I don't remember any pink, so I'm not sure.
Man, then that's changed because it was so tight in this little locker room for 65 guys. I don't think they had bathroom doors, like toilet doors on the stalls.
I think they do now.
Okay, because it's I mean, they did a good job, and a lot of other places do a very good job of keeping you like uncomfortable when you come to, like, even this is before when the stadium got redone, but the away locker room was a dump that you had to go upstairs in cleats and down a while back. So I just feel like playing on the away, and I would love to hear what you think. Playing away games was always more mentally challenging, not so physically, because you had to take in all these other factors that like you just didn't know about. Like in our locker room, you know where the bathroom is, you know where the hot tub is, you know where you can get anything you want, a water, a drink. You can just walk outside easy. Like there's just a lot of just easy factors. And then you go to these away games and like nothing is easy.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, either I just like walking into the stadium and like showing people what we can do, like just having that mentality, honestly, like some people are like, oh, boo, oh. And the Nebraska fans are like, oh, hey, how you guys doing? Like Nebraska fans are always really nice, but other than that, it's cool.
I just remember wearing shorts and a cutoff t-shirt, no matter how cold it was, to go throw the ball with Zach Hampton. I used to throw it. He played with Jimmy. He was a special teams guy, played some DB. We would just go out there and just throw. That's it. And no matter if it was 0 degrees, like, hey, I'll be here all day. Like kind of like that ridiculous mentality. But where was your favorite place to play away from Camp Randall?
Might have been Indianapolis was pretty cool. Like the Big Ten championship.
Not fair.
No, the stadium in general was pretty cool. Like it was really nice.
Yeah, that's a super
What about
nice
in the
stadium.
Big Ten?
What would you say?
What about in the Big Ten?
in the Big Ten. Not sure. The Big House was kind of cool, I would say.
Yeah.
The Big House is cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think I have a preference. It's all enemy territory, you know.
Bleav, tell me about it. I completely know. All right, so let's we got a little bit more time. We don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I would love to talk a little bit about what you think. And Matt, please, if you have other areas you want to touch, but like talking about next season, what's exciting to you as a Badgers fan? And then I would love to hear how, like, when did you know that Braylon Allen's going to be the guy that showed up towards the end of the season?
You know, I'll start with the Braylon one because I think, you know, just seeing him in the weight room alone, like, and like, I don't know, just he can like power clean 425, whatever, as a freshman, 17-year-old, like just being able to see that because like power clean is a, you know, big indicator of like, you know, how good a player can be. Like not too big, but like if he's power cleaning 425 as a running back, like that's crazy. And then just see him in fall camp, like run guys over, stiff arm guys into the ground, 6 feet under. Man, like, I mean, I always knew he was going to be special, whether, you know, it took him a year to just, you know, get in the groove of things or not. But, you know, he caught on quick and, you know, it showed. But in terms of next year, you know, just the saying, like, we don't rebuild, we reload. You know, that I heard that saying, like, when Chris Orr left too. And you know, and it was Jack and I's time to step up, and you know it got us where we were, and we just got to have that mentality and just trust the coaches, because at the end of the day, it's like those coaches are there to help us and there to make us better, and they've shown it that they can like constantly produce like good players, and so just listening to Coach Leonard is a huge key.
So Bostad goes to offensive line. Is that exciting for you? I mean, do you think the guys are like, this is great?
You know, it's, you know, he probably he was probably wanted to do that for a long time. Like he's a natural line guy. In my opinion, like every time he explained like linebacker stuff, like run destruction, always be through the whole line's eyes. You know, he was a heck of a linebacker coach too. Like he's produced all these guys, and you know, he can do it both ways, and that's awesome for him. And you know, I bet he's really excited, and you know, I'm kind of excited to see who's the next linebacker coach, like see who it's going to be. So, yeah.
And what's it like to have a bunch of like ex-Badger players as coaches? You have Taylor Melhoff, you have Jimmy, you have Kalaji. You had
Rudy.
You had Rudy. Coach Chris. I can't forget Coach Chris. What's it like? I think Turner. There's a couple others, maybe.
Yeah, Mickey Turner.
Oh, Mickey Turner.
He played with you. Like
he didn't play with.
I thought you and Mickey overlapped at least for maybe like 1 year.
Maybe 1 year.
Maybe 1 year. Oh, you know what? No,
too many times it was because of these guys, these middle linebackers.
No, man.
Yeah. So what is it like having all those, you know, ex-Badgers, you know, coaching you guys?
You know, it's just like that. It just feels like really close. Like a lot of programs say like, oh, we're a family. Like that's all, like, you know, we're a family, but in the end, like it's really a business to most places. But like, we really do feel like these guys generally care about you as a person. Like you can like, they'll drive you home, and if it's a rainy day, they'll help you whenever you need it. So I really felt that.
I love to hear that. I love that the culture is that, you know, I think Coach Chris, that's what he brings, especially back to Wisconsin where he played, is a culture of Wisconsin guys. I mean, that to me is special. I love that he gets Wisconsin guys to play at UW. I think that was something Barry thought was really important, was put a fence up around our state. I mean, it's not my state, but I consider it my state. I'm a New Yorker. Don't judge me, Leo. You could be here, but if you are, I'll show you around a little bit. You can hang out. You can meet my wife and daughter.
All right.
But I think that's special. And, you know, do you see, I think did they just hire a new offensive coordinator?
Not yet.
Oh, did they? I didn't see it yet.
Not yet, but
they're circling Bobby Ingram, who's the
right.
who's the, I think, like the tight ends, wide receivers coach, something like that, for the Ravens. So it's Dean Ingram's dad.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah.
So Leo, now that you're not part of the team anymore, what do you think the offense needs to take the next step?
Yeah, I think they're on the right track right now. Once you have this whole off season of rest for Braylon alone, like, because he came off, what is this? He played a whole season in the spring as well. Just to be able to, like, just that dude, like, he's a beast in his own right. Like, if you just get him healthy and, like, maintain, like, get him right with all the maintenance work, like, you're gonna have an explosive offense just based off him, and with our old linemen who are historically good, and with Coach Bostad taking over, and, like, see how that does. Like, it's gonna be exciting to see, like, the next step Braylon takes even more, and then I think Graham's gonna take the next step. Like, Graham was showing a lot this season of what he's capable of. He had a lot of highlights showing what he can do as well. So just taking that next step and having Braylon there and the offensive line, it's going to be fun to see.
Do you think the offensive line got to me, besides Braylon, outside of Braylon, the offensive line seemed to get night and day from the first 4 games to what was happening at the end of the season? As a defensive guy, like, do you see that? Like you were blitzing, like, guys were, we looked like a sieve at the beginning of the season. I don't want to be rude, but we were not, our pass blocking wasn't fantastic. How did they come together? Like, you see that happening? Like, do you feel it happening when you're going against them in practice?
I didn't really see anything like physical wise, but I know the mentality changed for sure. Like, I think we had, like, our body language wasn't very good and our energy wasn't very good to start the season, maybe. And I felt like more guys were stepping up, like, vocally and saying, like, all right, let's do this. Let's go, and, like, having better energy even after bad plays. So I think that played a role.
Speaking of
who's like the biggest leader on the offense?
Yeah.
I'd probably say, obviously the quarterback, Graham obviously has to be, I like just seeing, like, Ferguson, Jake was as well. And then I think John was too. So just those 3 probably working together.
And on defense, it was, obviously, like, you and Jack were hard, but you've said, like, you're not a super vocal guy. Everyone says was it Colin who was, like, the real, like, sort of, like, vocal leader on defense, or who else was it?
Yeah, for sure. Colin, like, he was the number one guy. And then you also had Scotty and Herbig. Nick was also, as a sophomore, he was doing some good stuff.
Talk about him a little bit.
Those guys are bringing every single day.
Yeah, talk about Herbig a little bit, because he's been super impressive in his first 2 years on campus.
Yeah, he's just a relentless dude. Like, he's got super high, like, football IQ. He'll be, like, if you see a guy after practice, every single practice staying, like, it's gonna be him. Like, he's gonna be there, like, just going over moves, like, really in a detailed way. Like, he loves the game. Like, there were few instances where, like, he, like, broke down, like emotional about, like, we were, like, messing up, like, touching lines or something in summer conditioning. He got emotional, like, saying, like we got to be better. Like, we got to do this. Like, he was calling everybody out. Like, and that was impressive to see, especially as an underclassman, and seeing, like, him step up and see that he truly cares about the team and how much he loves the game.
That's amazing to hear. That's really awesome to hear. So we just got a couple minutes left. I usually do throw some rapid fire questions here at the end. So who is the biggest physical freak that you played against, either on the Badgers or on another team?
Biggest physical freak. Shoot. Linderbaum, Tyler Linderbaum, he was pretty fast. Like, he was really fast for an old lineman. Let's see. John was, like, really the only one, like, I couldn't get past in blocks. And I'm not just saying that, like, he's the only one I haven't, like, figured out where, like, I can, like, engage on him and then make a play on the ball. Like, he was probably the only one.
That's awesome. So I already asked you about your pregame routine. What does why did you change from number 45 to 5? What was the impetus for that?
My older brother Peter, like I said, was the biggest, like, role model for me growing up. How hard he worked. He was number 5 going in, and then in high school I took that number just in honor of him and just what it means. And then after my sophomore year, I'm like, okay, maybe they'll let me now, because they didn't let me have any thing, like with number 5, like, you know, coming in, because Wild Goose had it. And once he left, I immediately asked, like, can I have that number?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I know. You know, Bernie wore number 45, so it's extra special to him. But you know, okay, then
it's okay. You know, the single digits made you look. The single
so
digits
badass.
make you look
You're
jacked.
so badass.
If
Yeah,
you could
exactly.
even be. I mean, if you could even be more jacked than you are, the single digits will do that to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Wait, Matty P, I got one.
Please.
Who takes over the Grit Factory, and where did that come up? Where did that come from? Because I love that.
You know, I don't know the full story, but I know Colin one day, he just like, it might have been for like a costume or something, and like he just wrote Grit Factory on like with Sharpie on like a hat he bought from Walmart or something. He just came in with it one day, and Coach Chris said he loved it. And like he asked Coach Chris if he could bring it to the game, and he said yeah. But in terms of carrying on that tradition, it's probably going to be Herbie. Is definitely, you know, a gritty guy. You know, just talking about his love for the game. You know, he's relentless. So I definitely think he might be the leader.
What's your relationship with Coach Chris? Like, to me, he was always a big time players coach, but I had him as an offensive coordinator, like tight ends coach, quarterbacks coach. What role, like just your experience with Coach Chris?
Yeah, like you said, he's definitely a player's coach. Like, you know, he's walking around before every practice when we're stretching, getting ready to go. He's asking like 10 to 15 people, like individually walking around, having these like 2 to 3 minute conversations with them, saying like, how's this? How's your family? How's like your mom? Like asking like these detailed questions, and he actually cares. Like, I'll text him right now and, you know, ask him or talk to him about something. And he'll call me and say like, okay, this is this. And, you know, yeah, we care about you. You'll always be a Badger. And like, he's really, truly a player's coach, and everybody loves him.
You recently got engaged. Congratulations. Awesome. How did you meet your wife, or your future wife, I should say?
I met her in my freshman year of high school, actually. Like, she rejected me my freshman year of high school. You know, I was a really awkward kid, and you know, I was pretty ugly, and maybe I still am, but maybe, I don't know why she rejected me, but she did. And, you know, she finally, like, after like a couple of years, she finally, like, you know, let me ask her out. And it was like my, I think, end of sophomore, junior year, we started dating. So high school sweethearts.
That's awesome. And John got married last year, and you're going to be an uncle soon. I'm sure you're excited about that.
Oh man, little John running around, man. That's not good, but I'm excited though. It's going to be fun.
The kid comes out with a 6-pack and biceps already.
Oh man. I'm gonna be that cool uncle, you know. I'm gonna be taking him to the gym at like 10 o'clock at night when he's like 4 years old, and just like, all right, do another set. Let's go. Doing that. And we'll see.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Man. Well, listen, you will have to remember these dates. Now, once you get married, there are no dates you can't remember.
Oh, I know.
Let me tell you, my wife will be like, oh, do you know what today is? It's an immediate, it's a landmine. I don't know what today is. It's a Sunday.
Oh, no.
No, today I know what today is, but I mean, there are days when I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, it's somebody's birthday, not yours. I know your birthday. Oh. So good luck. Yeah. Thanks. And it's one of the greatest things to ever do, but it is exciting. And for your brother, like I have nieces and nephews. And I'm sure you did. It's just so cool. Like it's so exciting. And you guys will be old, sitting on the porch somewhere being like, we played for the Badgers.
and then our kids will be like, okay, Dad, quit talking about the past.
Yeah, even your grandkids will be like, oh, here we go. Same story.
We played Army in 2021, and I got to line up over the center and blitz the A gap, and I tackled the quarterback before he could even hand the ball off. Okay, Grandpa.
Okay.
They'll be like, got it, Papa Leo. Like, John can block you. That was it. We get it. Dude, you're good. A lot of good things. Listen, I know it's been our hour, but dude, best of luck, man. In the future, if you need anything, I'm here. Matt Perkins is here. I'm sure you have a plethora of old guys, alumni, coaching, but Really, it is. I think it's truly special. You come into a group. I mean, it sucks to leave the Badgers, but once again, you never actually leave being a Badger.
Right.
I'm going to be cheering in heaven one day. So, this is the nursery, and that's in the nursery. I got a Barry Alvarez ball. I got a Ron Dane ball. I got a Bo Ryan ball. Got a lot of Badger stuff up here. So my daughter's, she's already, I already sent an email to admissions.
Oh,
she'll be a Badger one day.
Do you know where you'll be spending?
But really,
do you know where you'll be spending the draft? Have you thought about that yet? Where you're going to be for draft day?
I don't really know the process. Like, do we get to go home and stuff and sit down? Like, I haven't even talked about that at all. But if I get to go home, I want to be with my family and stuff. That'd be pretty special.
Awesome. Well, we will all be rooting for you selfishly. I hope you become a Buffalo Bill. That would be, we had Lee Evans on the podcast a couple months ago. He was a Badger who became a Bill. Craig Urbick was a Badger who became a Bill. I have a Lee Evans jersey. If you become a Bill, I'm going to be literally the first person in line to get a Chenal, hopefully number 5 Buffalo Bills jersey. That would just absolutely make my life. So Leo, listen again, thank you so much for spending the time with us today. And best of luck with the draft process. Thank you so much for your career. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch you. And until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin, baby. All right, thank you guys.